Justice Thomas has to recuse himself from anything related to the Trump administration, anything related to the January 6th Commission, or anything related to our effort to hold individuals accountable for their participation in this attack on our democracy.
Justice Thomas can make his decisions like he's made them every other time. It's his decision based upon law. If he sees it's not upholding the Constitution, he'll rule against it.
Some reaction to those extraordinary text messages revealing that Ginni Thomas, the conservative activist married to Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, urged Donald Trump's White House chief of staff to overturn the 2020 election in the days and weeks after the vote, just as Trump and his allies were promising to take their case to the Supreme Court. Here to discuss that and more is Senator Amy Klobuchar, member of the Judiciary Committee. Before we get to matters related to the Supreme Court, I want to ask you about President Biden's speech and that line that we all heard him say very bluntly: this man, Vladimir Putin, cannot remain in power. I mean, wasn't he saying exactly what he believed?
First, the White House has clarified that he was talking about the region and that he was talking about that Vladimir Putin has got to stay out of NATO countries, something he specifically said in his speech. But I think what General Petraeus said was meaningful here. We know the policy of our country. We know what it is. I think Vladimir Putin knows what it is, and certainly our NATO allies and Americans know what it is. We're part of NATO. We're doing all we can to protect those NATO countries, doubling the number of troops in Poland that I just visited a few weeks ago. Incredible command there, incredible leadership, giving them significant military assistance that is so necessary, and we have done a lot, and we should do more. But beyond that, our policy is clear. NATO is a defensive alliance. The president has said it himself. And we will do all we can to help Ukraine. And you can see the strength of that help coming through with the fact that they've literally pushed Russian troops back from Kyiv.
And that message came through. But as you know, during the campaign, I mean, you ran against Joe Biden. You know full well what he said. He said, the words of a president matter. And that was the headline around the world. That was the message heard in Moscow. That's what the Russians are responding to. And whatever walkback there is, his words cannot remain in power.
Having stood there myself on that border and embraced those kids, the refugees coming in, hearing about the horror, they leave there with nothing on their, leaving everything they have behind, everything, their little stuffed animals in their backpacks, moms with suitcases leaving their husbands behind to fight. Yes, the moment is clear. Vladimir Putin is a monster, but the position of the United States government is not to send troops in there. It is to give all the aid we can to Ukraine, which includes Switchblade drones, incredible drones that have done a lot of damage to the Russian army. And you've got to the Russian planes. You have got Stingers, 800 more Stingers, thousands of more Javelins, and we're doing more and more and more, and we must. I have personally advocated for doing more. That's what this is, and it's the humanitarian aid, over $1 billion pledge, taking in 100,000 refugees. That is what we are doing.
And it's not regime change in Moscow. Okay,
that has been made very clear.
Okay, let's turn to matters related to the High Court. You saw those text messages from Ginni Thomas, Clarence Thomas' wife. I want to read just two of them. One on November 6th, she said, "Do not concede. It takes time for the army who is gathering for his back." And then on November 19th, sounds like Sidney, meaning Sidney Powell, and her team are getting inundated with evidence of fraud. Make a plan, release the Kraken, and save us from the left taking America down. I mean, my goodness.
Jonathan, the facts are clear here. This is unbelievable. You have the wife of a sitting Supreme Court justice advocating for an insurrection, advocating for overturning a legal election to the sitting president's chief of staff. And she also knows this election, these cases are going to come before her husband. This is a textbook case for removing him, recusing him from these decisions. And I don't think, all I hear is silence from the Supreme Court right now, and that better change in the coming week, because every other federal judge in the country, except Supreme Court justices, would have a guidance from ethics rules that says you got to recuse himself. Thomas himself recused himself in 1995 from a case involving a school because his son was going to that school. Justice Breyer recused himself when his wife was on the board of an entity, and that case came before the Supreme Court.
Okay, and if he doesn't recuse himself?
I mean, the entire integrity of the court is on the line here. And they had better speak out on this, because you cannot have a justice hearing cases related to this election. And in fact, the ethics rules that apply to all the other federal judges say that if it involves a family member, appearance of impartiality, they have to recuse themselves. So not only should he recuse himself, but this Supreme Court badly needs ethics rules. Chris Murphy's leading a bill I've long been supportive of that says basically get your act together, get ethics rules in place. And I would hope Justice Roberts, who I respect, will stand up and get those ethics rules in place. They've got to do that. They should do it themselves. All
right, so Ketanji Brown Jackson, I mean, some fascinating questions from your Republican colleagues, but Joe Manchin's on board. Her confirmation seems to be given. Is she going to get Republican support? What are you hearing?
I think she is. She has in every other nomination that she's had for various levels of the courts. And I would make very clear here, she's not going to get confirmed in 2 years. She's not going to get confirmed in 2 months. She's going to get confirmed in 2 weeks. And so much of that has to do with her vast experience, more judicial experience than 4 of the justices that currently sit on that court, but also the pillar of strength, how she handled those attacks and just sat there and answered their questions. And she literally, as the first Black woman to serve on the Supreme Court, when she walks into that court with her head held high, every little girl and boy in America is going to know that anything and everything is possible.
I mean, it is clear that the overwhelming majority of Republicans will vote against her. Lindsey Graham, in an interview with the Washington Post, said that when all Democrats voted against Amy Coney Barrett, they set a precedent. This is what he said. Is that the new norm? If that's going to be the new norm, what do you do when one party has the Senate and the other party has the White House? How do you ever get anybody confirmed? I mean, what has happened to this process? I mean, I mean, we had Scalia overwhelmingly confirmed, Ruth Bader Ginsburg overwhelmingly confirmed, Sandra Day O'Connor. Now, I mean, we're going to have a court where nobody had the majority of both parties.
I'm not going to relitigate the whole past, but remember the unique circumstances with Amy Coney Barrett, where Mitch McConnell shoved through that nomination right before an election. That aside, what we have here is someone who is highly qualified, who has gotten votes of Republicans in the past, and those Republicans, at least 2 of them, have issued positive statements in the months leading up to this hearing. And so I believe she will get Republican support. I can't tell you who, I can't tell you how much, but I think that will be very important to this process.
All right, Senator Amy Klobuchar, thank you for being here on set with us on This Week.
Thank you. It was great to be on, Jonathan.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.